Eagles Nation, take a deep breath. Because the moment has arrived. The season is entering one of those stretches where every detail matters, and the air in Philly feels heavier than ever. This isn't just another game or just another week. It's a test of identity, strength, and response. Inside the NovaCare complex, the phones are ringing. The front office is moving, and outside, the fans can feel it. Something big is about to happen. This team needs answers, on and off the field. The fans want to see attitude, change, and that defense become feared again. So come on, drop a like to support the channel and comment below. What do you think needs to change in Philadelphia right now? I really want to hear from you, the voice of our Eagles Nation. I'll be replying to everyone in the comments. We've got to stay united, because we're entering crucial moments. Because one thing's for sure, the next few weeks will define the future of the Eagles. The Philadelphia Eagles are staring down a crucial stretch of their season, and the tension in the air feels heavier than ever. Week 7 looms large, a matchup in Minneapolis against the Vikings, one of the toughest road environments in football. Yet, what's happening off the field might end up defining this team's trajectory far more than what happens under the bright lights on Sunday. The offense has been inconsistent, the defense is fighting to find rhythm, and the recent retirement of DeVonta Smith, just weeks into his tenure with the team, has left a hole in the pass rush that no one expected. The shock of that decision rippled through the locker room, leaving fans and teammates alike asking, what's next? Inside the NovaCare complex, Howie Roseman is already working the phones. You can almost picture him, the league's most relentless general manager, pacing, calculating, and planning his next move. Roseman's reputation as an aggressive deal-maker precedes him. Over the years, he's proven that no trade deadline passes without the Eagles' name popping up somewhere in the rumor mill. And this season is shaping up to be no different. According to ESPN's Adam Schefter, the trade market is already heating up across the NFL, and Philadelphia's needs are clear. Help on the defensive front, an outside cornerback, and possibly even reinforcement along the offensive line. Roseman's track record shows he won't hesitate to strike. He's already made several under-the-radar moves, acquiring John Mechie, Jacan Bennett, and even Tank Bigsby in the lead-up to the season. This man never sleeps, and his vision for keeping the Eagles competitive never fades. Now with Smith gone, that pass rush needs an injection of energy. The Eagles have only 9 sacks through 6 games, a staggering drop-off for a team built on defensive dominance. They're generating pressure, yes, but not finishing plays. The numbers don't lie. 25th in sacks, 27th in sack rate. Compare that to the Broncos.
League-leading 30 sacks, and it's clear how far this defense has fallen behind. Something has to change. Names are being floated. Jeffrey Simmons from the Titans, a game-wrecking defensive tackle who could immediately elevate the front 7. Trey Hendrickson from Cincinnati, one of the NFL's most productive edge rushers over the past 2 seasons. Even Cam Jordan, the respected veteran from New Orleans, has surfaced as a potential short-term answer, a player who fits the culture and brings leadership to a unit that suddenly feels thin. And then there's the wild card, Bradley Chubb, a player with ties to Vic Fangio's system who could be the perfect schematic fit. But it's not just defense that's on the radar. The Eagles' offensive woes are becoming too big to ignore. Head coach Nick Sirianni acknowledged that his players and staff used their mini-bye after the Giants lost to reset. That defeat was more than just a bad night. It exposed deep cracks in execution, play calling, and rhythm. The team's offensive coordinator Kevin Patullo will continue calling plays, but the pressure is on. Philadelphia ranks 22nd in points per drive, 28th in yards per play, and dead last in 3-and-outs. For a team with this much talent, that's unacceptable. Sirianni knows it, the players know it, and the fans definitely know it. The spark that once made this offense electric has dimmed. There are flashes, glimpses of the old dominance, but nothing consistent enough to sustain confidence. That's why Howie's next move could define this season. Whether it's an offensive lineman to stabilize protection or a speedster like Rashid Shaheed to stretch defenses, the Eagles can't afford to stand still. And speaking of Shaheed, the young receiver from New Orleans might be the exact type of player this offense needs. Explosive, unpredictable, and capable of opening up the field for A.J. Brown and DeVonta Smith. His vertical speed could force defenses to respect the deep game again, something the Eagles have sorely missed. Then there's the conversation around C.J. Gardner-Johnson. The idea of bringing him back to Philadelphia is gaining traction. He's familiar with the system, loved by fans, and could immediately bolster the secondary. The move is possible. The Eagles can poach him off Baltimore's practice squad if they're willing to add him to the active roster. But that's where Howie faces his toughest challenge yet, balancing aggression with patience. He's already been burned by a few bargain deals that didn't pan out this year. Still, this is the same man who built one of the most talented rosters in league history just 2 seasons ago. He knows what it takes. And as Schefter reported, the modern NFL is driven by general managers who aren't afraid to shake things up mid-season. Roseman helped pioneer that shift, and now he might have to lead it again. The stakes couldn't be higher. The Eagles are 3-3, reeling from inconsistency and watching the NFC's top contenders pull ahead. The clock is ticking toward the Week 10 trade deadline, and every decision from here on out could decide whether this team fights its way back into the contender conversation or fades into mediocrity. So here's the question every fan in Philadelphia is asking right now. Will Howie Roseman make the bold moves this team desperately needs before it's too late? Because if there's one thing we've learned over the years, it's that Howie Roseman doesn't sit back and hope for things to fix themselves. He acts decisively, aggressively, sometimes controversially, but always with one goal in mind, to give the Eagles a chance to compete for a championship. And right now, that's exactly what this roster needs. The timing of Zadarius Smith's retirement couldn't have been worse. The defensive line rotation, once the envy of the league, now feels uncertain. You look at the names left on the depth chart: Josh Sweat, Patrick Johnson, Azeez Ojulari, and rookie Jihad Campbell, and you can't help but feel the void. Campbell might be the most intriguing piece here. The former Alabama standout was recruited as a true edge rusher, and Nick Sirianni hinted this week that he might line up there more frequently. Through limited snaps, Campbell has shown flashes: 6 pressures on just 23 pass rush reps, a win rate of nearly 27%. That's elite production for a rookie learning multiple roles. Jordan Mailata even compared Campbell's movement to Micah Parsons. That's high praise, but also a hint of what the coaching staff sees in him. He's athletic, instinctive, and versatile enough to give Vic Fangio options. Fangio, meanwhile, is under pressure himself. His defensive structure is working to a point. The pressures are there, the hurries are there, but the finishing isn't. The Eagles rank top 5 in pressures, top 3 in hurries, yet near the bottom in sacks. It's a frustrating paradox that's becoming the story of their season, and the offense isn't helping. Sirianni's decision to stand by Kevin Patullo as the play caller says a lot. He's betting on continuity, hoping this mini-bye allowed for self-reflection and recalibration. But the issues run deeper than play design. Execution, discipline, and timing all have fallen short of what's expected in Philadelphia. When you're 28th in scoring drives and can't sustain possession, the pressure on your defense becomes unbearable. The offense has to find rhythm fast. Which brings us back to Howie Roseman and the looming trade deadline. The list of available players, according to Adam Schefter, is long and filled with potential difference makers. Trey Hendrickson could immediately fix the pass rush problem. Reek Woolen could offer youth and speed at corner, a position that's quietly become a concern. Kyle Duggar, the physical New England safety, could provide the secondary toughness the team's been missing since Gardner Johnson left. And speaking of that, how poetic would a reunion be? C.J. Gardner-Johnson remains one of the most beloved figures in recent Eagles history. His swagger, leadership, and ability to create turnovers changed games. If there's a path to bringing him back, you can bet Howie's exploring it. The Ravens can protect him on their practice squad, but if the Eagles want him badly enough, they can sign him to the 53-man roster. It's a move that would light up the fan base and send a clear message to the locker room: we're not done fighting. At the same time, Howie knows the offensive line can't be ignored. The interior has struggled all season, and trading for a quality guard isn't easy. Teams hoard offensive linemen like gold, and for good reason. There simply aren't enough good ones to go around. But that doesn't mean Howie won't try. Protecting the quarterback, improving the run game, and stabilizing drives all start up front. If the Eagles are serious about turning things around, they'll need to fix the foundation first. Nick Sirianni, for his part, remains confident, maybe stubbornly so, that this team can self-correct. He points to past years when the Eagles found their rhythm after adversity. In 2021, after a rocky start, they stormed into the playoffs. In 2022, they were a machine. Even last season, when things went south late, they still found ways to compete until the final weeks. But this feels different. The margin for error is thinner, the expectations higher, and the patience shorter. This fan base isn't just passionate, it's demanding. They've seen greatness recently, and they know what a true contender looks like. Right now, this version of the Eagles isn't that. Not yet, but the pieces are there: a dominant offensive line when healthy, a young defensive core with enormous upside, and a general manager who refuses to accept mediocrity. That's why this next stretch of weeks will define the 2025 season. Every decision, from how the team deploys Jihad Campbell, to whether they chase a trade for Trey Hendrickson or C.J. Gardner-Johnson, to whether Sirianni finally tweaks his offensive structure, will shape what this team becomes. It's a moment of truth. The talent's there. The leadership's there. The question is whether they'll respond before it's too late. So now, I want to hear from you, the fans who live and breathe this team every Sunday. Do you trust Howie Roseman to pull the right strings before the deadline? Do you believe this roster can still turn things around? Or are the cracks we're seeing the beginning of something bigger? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because this conversation, just like the Eagles season, is far from over. And if you're still watching, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and check out the other videos we've got lined up right here. We're just getting started, and trust me, the next few weeks in Philadelphia are going to tell us everything we need to know. Because at this point, everything Howie Roseman does, or doesn't do, will speak volumes about where this franchise truly stands. The deadline is approaching fast, and the tension inside the NovaCare complex is real. Scouts are working overtime, phones are buzzing, and the conversations behind closed doors are starting to shape the next chapter of Eagles football. The team's future is being decided in real time, and you can feel it, that quiet anxiety that comes before something big. The kind of energy that surrounded the 2017 team right before Howie pulled off those key moves that helped launch a Super Bowl run. The difference is, this time, there's no margin for error. The NFC is stacked. San Francisco looks loaded again. Detroit's for real. Even teams like Dallas and Green Bay are dangerous. The Eagles don't just need to be good, they need to be elite to keep up. That's why the idea of adding a true game changer on defense is gaining momentum. Trey Hendrickson remains the most logical target. No one in the league has been more consistent rushing the passer over the last 2 years, 17.5 sacks in back-to-back seasons. He's relentless, violent, and exactly the kind of tone setter this defense is missing since Smith walked away. Imagine